Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, your host of the Beliefcast. Today's guest is someone whose courage turns pain into purpose, Celeste Edmunds. Celeste, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Your story is probably, obviously they should make a movie of it. Maybe they will one day. Maybe that's happening. Who knows?
We're having talks.
You should. You guys are going to be blown away and won't even maybe somewhat believe what she had to go through. She grew up in a world which no child should ever experience, one filled with chaos, abuse, and constant instability. By age 16, she had lived in over 30 cities and carried her belongings in a garbage bag. Yet through it all, she refused to let her circumstances define her. Today, Celeste is an advocate, a voice for the voiceless, and a beacon of hope for children trapped in the same system that once failed her. Whew. Her story is one of resilience, redemption, and radical compassion, proving that light can emerge even from the darkest and deepest trials. Celeste, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. We've been trying to do this for a long time now. She's also the author of Garbage Bag Girl, and her story is unbelievable. And she's what we were just talking about this, how open you are with your story. And I think that's what gives you so much power at the same time is you're not afraid to talk about it. And I love that about you. Why don't we start off? Let's just start at the beginning. You know, as a child, what was that like for you? And let's go from there.
The beginning.
Yeah, right?
Gosh, yeah. Well, even when you read that, it's interesting that story always takes you back to remembering your own hurt.
Yeah.
It's like when you were sharing just the super brief part of your life.
Yeah.
Immediately, my brain went to all those moments in between we didn't have time to talk about.
Right.
And you'll probably feel the same. I feel like every time you start to talk about story, you have both courage and pain that remind you of the journey.
Right.
And my childhood felt like that. I had to be more courageous, which means I didn't recognize the hurt. One, I was a child.
Right.
And not until I started writing my book and actually went into my own trauma therapy just to make sure that I was in good recovery through the writing process, which was awesome. And then she was on speed dial till she recently retired.
Right.
Rats.
Darn it.
Maybe you know a guy. So because as I was writing it, I remember asking her, why is it harder to write it than it was to live it? And she said, because when you were living it, you were just moving through it like any trauma, and anyone going through anything, you're either in, she describes it as you're either in depression and not coping well or coping not as well as you could, or you're just moving through it as fast as you can to get through it so you can just keep pushing. Right. Like, if somebody gets a divorce or any trauma.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're just moving through it. And so what happens when you write it? Why so many are good fans of journaling. Because I always tell everyone you should write your own story. You don't have to publish it. It's a whole other conversation. Yeah. But writing it gives you this moment to experience that journey that you just lived through. So I was angry for the first time. Angry of loss of my own childhood. Yeah. And then I was sad. I mourned for so many losses of people that I just hadn't done that for. But then this beautiful moment happened towards the end of, having never written a book before, I closed my laptop thinking, I did it. I'm done. Look at this great book. And I turned it over to my co-author, Richard Paul Evans. And I had this super proud moment of courage. Like, wow, if nothing else happens with this book, I did that.
Right.
I lived that.
Yeah.
And I did a good job for what I knew and what I had, the skills I had at the time, the tools I had at the time. And and super proud of her, because when I was going through it when I was a child, it was just, when you ask what that was like, it was really just about taking care of siblings, mostly my sister. My brother, we could find placements for more because he was so little.
Okay.
And even today in child welfare, everybody wants a baby.
Yeah.
So there's a 2-year adoption waiting list. And when we have babies come into the shelter, they're there rarely for more than 24 hours. It would be very unusual for them to stay because there's a place waiting for them.
Right. Gotcha.
So as I got to be older, and we know that if a child reaches foster care, if they're 4 years or older, their chances of adoption drop about 50%. And so I was told that a lot as a child. Well, you're just, I'd turn 5 and 6 and 7, and I would continually get told, you're lucky if anyone's going to take you, Celeste. Like, just take the best, get what you get, don't throw a fit, as my adopted mom always said. But literally, just get what you get, and don't throw a fit. And it really, the name of the book, Garbage Bag Girl, really started off as kind of that metaphor for every 6 months moving with my stuff in a garbage bag, which was what happened.
Yeah.
But then as I progressed through life, it became more significant as the message and the mindset. And I know you do a lot of work with mindset, that just that initial belief system of how you believe about yourself. If we just start from scratch, what does your self-worth look like for you? And most people I talk to, sadly, that's not that high.
Yep.
It is kind of actually surprising as I've gotten into this work.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, most of my clients, they look at themselves as this low, not good enough. I'll never be lovable. You name it, right?
And the things that other people have, no matter what it is, are things that other people get to have. It's not in any way, I don't deserve to have that for whatever reason they're feeling. And it's a crazy thing. So metaphorically, the garbage bag became more of this symbolic, the stuff we carry in that garbage bag can be very significant. And it's so weighty that pretty soon we're not even carrying it like this. We're dragging it.
Right.
We're symbolically dragging it. It is holding us back and pulling back on this leg metaphor of like the dragging it into the end of the marathon.
Right. Yeah.
We've both done a marathon. So I think about my last mile was kind of my hardest.
Yeah. They tend to be.
For me, it really was. Like I was happy to see the finish line, but around the corner, I knew it was there, but I knew sometimes that last minute pushing through before the biggest part of growth, which is the I did it, is hard.
Yeah. It's
almost easy to quit at the finish line, right before you get there. And I don't know, we could talk about that for a long time, but I feel like that's kind of where I was as a kid. Every step of a new home every 6 months. So 2 schools a year, knowing that the family I was going to stay with really didn't either want or couldn't keep me for a long time, worrying about where my brother and sister were because they were basically taken from me. And put into other families, and then eventually adopted into another family. And so that childhood was like for me just chaos and turmoil and uncertainty, lots of uncertainty. But I did know that it would always be up to me to take care of me because everyone had just failed me. Right. So they're good or bad. That was kind of part of the deal. But sadly, because of how I was taken care of or not taken care of, I learned to take care of me in negative ways. I learned to sell myself literally, just to get what I needed for survival.
Yeah. How young were you when that was going on?
Started at 7.
Started at 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I recall, part of your story is, you had some adults in your life that were, to be honest, quote unquote, evil.
Yeah. Yes.
And I mean, again, as a kid, how can you even process that?
Well, at the time I thought, because by the way, I went into all the situations, the horrific situations I went into with great intention to protect my sister. So there was a choice on my part at a very young age that if I do this, this doesn't happen to her. And there was a weird feeling of being proud of it.
Right.
Like, oh, I could do this for her because my mom's not stepping up for her. I'm obviously the real mom at age 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And isn't this what a real mom would do, whatever that looks like?
Yeah.
She would cook dinner. She would have uncomfortable situations with men. She would do whatever she needed to do to protect her child. Why would I not do that?
Yeah.
And
right.
so it just really confused my mindset around right and wrong in
Sure.
all healthy types of situations in my life. And it really oddly wasn't until mid-30s
Wow.
that I had kind of a, well, truth be told, it was a nervous breakdown. It was a go. Celeste put herself in a program for 3 days, an intervention. I was a single mom at the time, and I had a great career in corporate world and trucking along, moving up the ladder. And I had an experience in the corporate scene that I didn't realize had triggered some stuff in me that started recalling dreams that I had not dreamed based on memory my whole life.
Really?
That had been suppressed for me as a child.
Yeah. Okay.
Through medication and all sorts of psychotherapy. And so I just didn't remember dreams. And the moment I started having them in my mid-30s, they were so scary because I couldn't process if they were real or my mind was making them up.
Right.
And I literally thought, I don't know if I'll be able to take care of my kids. And so I asked my biological sister, who I'm reconnected with, great friends.
Right.
I'm going to go on a work trip. That wasn't unusual for me.
Yeah.
And I put myself in a 3-day intensive care program. Luckily, I had friends that could get me in.
Right.
I know that's not an option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then it was under the agreement that once a week I would commit, first twice a week and then once a week until I can maintain, a better place for myself. And it saved my life.
Wow.
I know, I'm certain of that.
Sure.
Because I needed someone to help me process all those emotions and those vivid dreams that were coming on around those experiences I talk about in my book that I've never shared with anybody till I wrote my book.
Yeah.
I never told a soul
Dang.
about them. So, yeah, it was a crazy, crazy journey, but more so, the book has 25 more years of toxic behavior. Like, what do you do after?
Yeah. What do you do?
What do you do after you think you have reached a point in your life where, okay, I'm doing okay, but then you realize I'm really not.
Right.
I'm really just managing the
Yeah.
best I can, and now I want to go from survival to high functioning. And what does that look like? What does that look like for Celeste? How do I do that?
Right.
Where do I find a resource for that? And the first step for me was recognizing I wasn't there. And then recognizing I needed to search out skill sets. And there had to be people that knew more than me that could help me talk through those and work through
Right.
them. And so that's kind of how the journey of healing really started for me, was that initial recognition
Wow.
of, wow,
Well,
I'm not okay.
Yeah. Well, you experienced the worst of humanity, but then there are also strangers in
Yes.
your life that were your angels, your saviors, if you will.
Yep.
How have you navigated that contrast of people can be so bad but yet people also can be so great?
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing that part of the story of
Yeah.
what you were going through and what these strangers did to step in to help you?
I appreciate you asking that, because while I wrote the book, I had these incredible moments of insight that I don't think I would have found without it. And that was, writing it had me discover those people so yes, I moved every 6 months, but every 6 months there was someone that came into my life that either let me live there, or they were a teacher at one of the schools,
Right.
or maybe a friend that took me in for a minute. There was someone that popped up every 6 months that showed me grace, that showed me kindness, that showed me more than I saw in myself. And in that process of writing that and recognizing and identifying those beautiful people, I got to find it in myself. And the beautiful thing about grace is that, to me, even as an acronym, it stands for something. Grace for me is grit. It's reflection, right?
Yeah.
And right away when you start with grit and reflection, you automatically think, how do I reflect on my behavior and now get gritty to take action, which is the A. And then community's the C, and empowerment's the E. Those are like my 5.
I love that.
How do I define grace for me? And if I'm working on those 5 areas which help me be resilient, they're just grounds for resiliency skills, then I always have a process to work through. So if I'm giving myself grace, and it allows me to forgive, and that, you know, forgiveness is a really big topic. I think a lot of people have misconceptions around what that means. Like I'm excusing bad behavior. And I think a lot of people find it odd that I can say, if you've read my book, you met Kathy. She tends to be, she's the adopted mom that chose to take me in. And most people, of everything they read in my book, have the hardest time with her. Yeah. Because she chose to take me in. I wasn't even born into her family.
Yeah, like why would she choose you and then therefore
be abusive?
And be abusive.
Yeah. And it was not until the last month, 5-6 weeks, I've forgiven her. And it's really about how, and it doesn't mean I forgive or it doesn't mean I condone her bad behavior. Because I don't, and she's passed, and I'm grateful no one else gets to be hurt. But I was so chained. There was a part of me still chained to her because I hadn't quite forgiven her, and the angst that would still come up when I thought about her was because I hadn't gone through that process yet. And the last 6 weeks or so have been the most freeing 6 weeks.
So just barely.
It's so new.
When you said that in my head, I'm going, did she just say it's only in the last 6 weeks?
It's very new. I haven't even been on a podcast to talk about this yet.
Wow. Well, thanks for being willing to.
This is the first time.
That's amazing. Well, tell me your thoughts. And I think this is where you're going. You know, a lot of times I'll tell my clients, because they've gone through abuse and all kinds of stuff. And you know, we talk about forgiveness, but it's in a way of, it's not necessarily forgiveness is for them. It's more for you to set you free, right?
Yes.
And you're right, not to say that you agree with what they did or like, okay, that was the right thing. No, it was still wrong, and it's still going to be something you'll never forget. But yet it allows you to maybe move forward and feel free, if you will. Yes. Right?
And for me, forgiveness is only about me. Yeah. Because if I can't, you know, I have a favorite saying that's, don't hate me because I sin differently than you. And the reality is...
Yeah, say that again.
Don't hate me because I sin differently than you.
Did you guys hear that? That's powerful.
Because in my book, you know, there's a bullying chapter.
Yeah.
The chapter about my dad was initially the hardest chapter for me to write, saying goodbye to him, until I wrote the bully chapter. And man, if you haven't read my book, this isn't about me being bullied. That was plenty. This was about me making a conscious decision to bully someone else. And I would love to say I didn't know better. I'd really love to say that, but I did. When you go so long without being truly seen as anything more than something to take or someone to use, and you believe that in yourself, when someone sees you, even in a way that's manipulative, which can speak to domestic violence or trafficking issues, you'll take it. And I did. And I remember consciously thinking, I know it's not right that I'm going to hurt this beautiful human that took me in as a friend, because I want to be seen by these girls more. Like, I remember knowing I wanted to be seen more by girls that appeared to be cool or popular or prettier than me. Yeah. I wanted that for the first time in my life, to be in that club, to be cool like that. And, you know, my co-author, Richard Evans, tells me that when you write a book, people tend, or you open yourself to a universe of forgiveness, people tend to drop into your life that are supposed to. And Jen might be one of those people. And I've moved on from that, telling myself that she lives in this big, beautiful mansion and doesn't spend a second thinking about Celeste. But I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know, based on how I really impacted her, if she's okay. I don't know. I don't know if she made bad decisions in her life because that hurt her so bad. I don't know. We did very horrific things to her. And when I speak to foster kids specifically that are going through what I can really relate to, I tell them, you know, the one thing that you will not know how to catch until oftentimes it's too late is your rock bottom. And it looks so different for everyone.
Right.
And you're familiar with probably the ACE scores.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not familiar, it's just the quick and dirty, quick 10 or 12 ways we can identify in a child their risk in the future for addiction and problems and bad decisions, marriage decisions, all the things. And for me, of course, I was off the chart with the ACE score.
I'm sure you were.
Every one of them you could check off.
Yeah.
But what's not on there is that when someone hits rock bottom, which is really unique for everybody.
Yeah.
Because you can meet someone and you think, okay, this is going to be it. And they're probably going to make a big leap
Yeah.
in progress.
Right.
And they don't. And you're like, it's a little surprising. And then they hit another one and you think, this is probably it. They've lost everything in their life. Their marriage has fallen apart, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't hit it. It's not theirs. It's not their personal rock bottom, which means we can't really judge where someone's going through something because it's not the same for us.
Yeah.
And all those transitions these kids will make, I tell them, every loss you have is significant. Everybody you say goodbye to is significant. Every fall you take is significant. But until you choose to hurt somebody, you actually hurt another human being. I can promise you with everything in me, there's nothing worse than that. Wow. There is no feeling that will eat you up. That last bit of forgiveness to myself is probably the only one I haven't worked through yet. I'm working on it. But for me to be able to forgive myself, I have to forgive other people.
Yeah.
I can't forgive someone for hurting me.
Exactly.
And not forgive myself. Like it all has to coincide.
Yeah, they have to kind of go together.
So forgiving Kathy allows me to start to really work on the biggest forgiveness of all, which is going to be me.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part.
It's a very, common saying now that hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And that kind of goes along with probably why you were doing what you were doing.
Oh, for sure.
And you wanted to fit in so bad with, like you said, the popular group and the cool group. And, people might hear that and go, oh, yeah, whatever. But if you think about it, when we were back in junior high and high school, we wanted to fit in more than anything else. I think back, I mean, part of the reason why I drank and partied is because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of that crowd. And it meant everything. And I would do some of the craziest
people join
things,
groups
right?
they shouldn't.
Right.
They're just trying to find a family concept of something to fit into.
Absolutely.
And if there's nothing healthy that shows you what that looks like, you will oftentimes just find whoever takes you.
Yeah.
And even sometimes if you had healthy defined for you, your brain goes somewhere else, and maybe you still look for it somewhere else.
Sure.
I mean, there's stories of that. But for me, it was, man, and I even went home, and my poor adopted father, who was probably the only man at the time that had ever shown me love without taking something, the true pure love of, this is what I do as a parent love. And I hurt him as well. And he had, enough insight to say, I see you. I know what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read the book, I hurt him and he sadly passed away of a heart attack just a month or two later. And I never got to say sorry or,
that's tough, right?
It is. And, if you're a believer in angels, he's actually one of my guides now. I feel his presence all the time.
Yeah.
Him and my biological father that are just always present with me to help move me forward in the radar of what feels good and what doesn't feel good. They're just always very present in my life.
Yeah.
And
but it sounds like
it's a process.
It sounds like he didn't judge you.
No.
Like he could see you for what was going on.
Yes.
Even though it was hurtful.
Very hurtful. He was tears in his eyes.
Have you ever watched Ted Lasso by chance?
Yeah.
There's
it's a great show.
There's a scene where he's getting challenged to play darts. And I think he quotes Walt Whitman where he says, be curious and not judgmental.
Yes.
And when we're curious, we'll ask a lot of questions, right?
Yep.
And then if you ask someone a lot of questions, you get to know them. When you get to know them, it's hard to not like them.
Yes.
But if we just initially judge like, oh, you're a bad person, there's no chance, right?
That's right.
And so it sounds like what he was doing, he was curious and he understood why, this is why she's doing what she's doing.
And he knew because the hurt he also got from the same woman, his wife.
Yeah, right.
He knew her. He knew what she was trying to do to play the children against him in this divorce situation.
Yeah.
And she used a way to manipulate a situation to draw a wedge between us because there was always jealousy.
Yeah.
Celeste was just a genuinely pretty good kid. She wanted love. She wanted to help out doing chores and learning to build things, and I just wanted any attention I could get in whatever way I could get it. And he gave it to me in a very positive way. And that was hurtful for her because they had a broken marriage. And she used that situation to get what she wanted. And he saw through that.
That's
and
amazing.
I'll never forget him looking at me with total tears in his eyes saying, I see you and I forgive you. He was forgiving me as it was happening. It didn't even happen all the way yet. Like, who has that much insight?
Right? I know, right?
Now I look back and think, wow, you were braver, stronger, and smarter than I even gave you credit for. Because dang, I don't know how many people can have that. But courage, you mentioned, is one of my favorite words because, or curiosity, courage and curiosity.
Yeah.
I think being curious is really the only way that allows you to hear the story, like you said, of someone else, which is one of the only things that I think makes people uniquely different is we just don't know each other's stories yet.
Right.
We just haven't had an opportunity to connect on, same, or relevant, or whatever we've been through. And man, that difference, it makes all the difference in the world. Because I think judgment is really a little bit of something we see in ourself. It's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We don't know which part, maybe.
Sure.
We're not that in tune maybe at the moment, but I think we're judging something that we're sensing doesn't feel good in us.
Yeah.
And we're trying to define that. And so there's a way to push that away from us by judging someone else because it's a little easier. Judgment itself is hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, and we don't like to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
So
nobody does.
It's easy to quickly judge and just try to block it out of your mind and move on. Yeah.
So are you, in your line of work, I'm confident is familiar with the book, What Happened to You?
Yes.
By Dr. Perry.
Yeah, great book.
So when I was writing my book, that book, along with my trauma therapist, were the two.
Okay.
I'd write for a week, and then I'd call it like recovery for a week.
Yeah.
And then I'd write for a week, and I'd go into recovery. And I was reading that book to just understand brain psychology.
Yeah.
Like, why does anybody make a decision that they make?
Yeah.
And now in child welfare, his training around trauma-based therapy is significant in the child welfare space. It's really changing so much of what we do. But I love the question now, and I think if everyone could use the one thing in their life, and that's this: when you meet someone, never ask them what's wrong with them. Don't ask the question at all. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Our whole demeanor changes
For
right
sure.
out of the gate, right? We get
Absolutely.
like, well, what's wrong with you?
What
And
do
we
you
get
mean?
defensive, we
Yeah.
get weird, we get uncomfortable. And like you said, nobody likes that. Ask instead, what happened to you? Tell me your story.
I like that.
Can I know something about your story?
Yeah.
It changes the way you ask and feel, and it changes the way they receive it.
Well, that feels safe.
It is
When you say that,
safe.
I feel safe. The other way, it's like, oh my gosh, if they think one, they already think something's wrong with me. And
I'm going to say it differently too.
Yeah.
What happened? What's
Absolutely.
wrong with you, Todd? Todd, what happened to you?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's just
it's
such a
so
different way I'm going to my body language.
Well, I love that you brought this up because there's something I want to share. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So when I meet with clients, they sit right where you're sitting, actually. And on day one, I'll have them read that out loud up there. Would you read that out loud for our listeners?
The most delightful surprise in life is to suddenly recognize there is nothing wrong with you. I love that. I'm going to take a picture before I leave.
And
because there isn't.
And I'll do that on day one. I mean, I've got people coming out of prison. They've blown up their lives. They're drug addicts. They've blown up their families. And I have them read that. And 10 out of 10 times, Celeste, they just start crying.
Can some of them even not read it?
Yeah, they'll get halfway through and they don't believe it.
Yeah, there's a nothing's wrong with you. It's like, that's not true.
Yeah. And I get it. And I say, and I'll even tell them, I know you don't believe that maybe right now, but I'm telling you, once it clicks, that's why it's a delightful surprise. You'll go, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. You know, just like when I look at you and what you've been through, despite all that, nothing wrong with you. Anyway, so it kind of goes along with what you're saying.
I love that because I may make plenty of unhealthy decisions.
Sure.
I may do plenty of things I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean something's wrong with me.
Right.
It means I haven't learned, most likely, unless I'm making a conscious bad decision.
Yeah.
But I always say I'm either not in the right mindset or I haven't received the right tool yet. For me, there's usually one of those two things. I'm either I'm just not in the right mindset to receive, or I haven't learned the right tool yet. And if I can align the two, most often I can learn through what I need to learn.
Exactly.
And that's just kind of helped me learn that motto that it was hard. Reading that book helped so much.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic book. And now when I meet somebody, I think the same thing. Okay, there's nothing wrong with them, Celeste. They have a story.
Yeah, they have a
you
story.
have angst over something, especially when we see so many abused children in the shelter. It can be really hard on my team, who hasn't had the same life as me.
Exactly. Yeah.
To not get really personal about a parent, a 2-month-old that recently came in with a fentanyl addiction, and it is really difficult to not have immediate thoughts about the mom that child was just taken from. It just is. And my team gets angst. They're physically uncomfortable. They're holding this baby, sobbing, trying to give it love, which is awesome and a blessing.
Right.
But we have that initial judgment, and there's always a processing that has to happen afterwards with the team. And they know, come into my office anytime. You just want to process. Throw out all the negative emotions you have. Scream if you need to.
Yeah.
Because like Disneyland, when we go back out to work with people, that doesn't go with us.
Yeah.
That judgment when we open the door and we talk to another parent whose situation's going to be totally different cannot carry in. So let's process why you feel this way, how angry it's making you, how sad you're feeling, and that's okay.
Yeah.
The emotions aren't what's wrong. I think that's the other part of all this journey is the emotions we have are not what's wrong. It's just what action do we take
exactly
when we feel those things. You know that.
No, yeah.
Like be angry. Be as angry as you want.
For sure.
Hit the pillow, just don't hit your child. Hit the wall, just don't hit your spouse. Just, whatever that looks like.
Sure.
I get easier said than done, but there's just so many tools that we have to learn.
No, well said. We mentioned you're a voice for the voiceless, and you do some amazing work. Will you talk about it and let our listeners know, all these people you're helping, these kids, and you're now helping the very system that at times failed you growing up.
Yes, and one of the reasons I wrote the book is because the children we serve through the Christmas Box International are confidential. They're taken into state custody and parent rights have been removed for abuse, neglect, trafficking, or homelessness. So the beauty of our shelters, our Christmas Box emergency shelters, are that we take the whole child, age 0 to 18, which is probably the most unique thing to our shelters because there's a lot of shelters in the state of Utah, but most of them can only license through the age of 12.
Okay.
And
you
so
guys go to 18.
Yeah. Okay. And so what happens is if siblings are over the age of 12, they get separated in those environments from their siblings. And speaking to that, it's still the most painful part of my childhood. When I think, what is the most painful part of your memories? It's the loss of my brother and sister. By far is the most painful. The saying I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to say goodbye, and then when I was reunified for just a minute with them, it was a say hi and say goodbye all in a moment. I didn't know what was going to happen, and it wasn't until reunification later in life that we've been able to try to build a relationship, which is hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of loss in time, but there's also a lot of loss in feelings. Well, what did you get that I didn't get, and what it comes up subconsciously in different ways. And so us to be able to just process all that has really been just a lot of effort. And so keeping the siblings together at our shelters, as a matter of fact, we keep about 1,000 a year together between the 3 shelters in Moab, Salt Lake, and Ogden.
Okay.
To me is one of the most beautiful gifts we can give them by far.
Yeah.
So they come stay in one of our shelters. They are with us about 2 weeks to 45 days. And that is that time frame is short because we want the next placement to hopefully be the last. If it can't be, it's at least going to be better until hopefully the last placement they will get.
Yeah.
So 49% go home under a safety plan with the state, which is the best thing we can do if it's healthy.
Yeah.
And then the other 51% stay with the family. We call that kinship placement,
okay,
or go into foster care.
Yeah.
And not all kiddos need to stay in a shelter, but all of them that are accessing state services will still need essential items. And so we have 22 resource rooms located throughout 24 of our 29 counties.
That's
that
amazing.
Caseworkers can access those items.
Okay.
So my goal is to be in all 29 counties in the next 18 months, which will mean we will serve all 1,100 caseworkers in our state.
Dang, that's
which
amazing.
is a big goal for us. So
I'm sure you'll get there, because I know how hard you work and also how passionate you are about this. If I have the numbers right, I might be wrong. You help anywhere like, is that 14,000
about
kids
14,000 a year.
And this is year 29.
Yep.
I got that right?
You got it right.
And so I think that equates to like 170,000.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are like, wow, 170,000. So I would say, well, that'll fill Madison Square Garden about 7.5 times. And it's very
That puts it in
bittersweet.
perspective.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Or all of the Utah football stadiums 5 times, if you're living here locally.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
it's kind of bittersweet, because Richard Evans and I, when we founded it 29 years ago, and his wife Carrie said, this will be that one job that if one day we got kicked out of it or laid off or didn't have to have it,
no longer needed.
that'd be okay.
That would be okay.
Yeah, that would be okay. I mean,
Yeah.
if you no longer had to treat people with mental health challenges, it probably would be okay.
Yeah.
You'd get over that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You'd be thinking, wow, we really
We really made
we
an
killed
impact.
it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
really, because, and
Yeah.
I think honestly, everybody, I think, wants to feel like they left the world just a little better than they found it.
Yeah.
I mean, even just making that dent that you make, it's your legacy next to raising your children.
Yeah.
It's
For
what
sure.
you will leave behind are the impacts of the lives that were touched
Well,
because of the work that you're engaged in.
yeah, I love that. And also adding, and I would love to hear your thoughts. It also, for those that we may have harmed in our lives, when we turn our lives and change it and do good, even if we're not able to tell them we're sorry, or
Yes.
it's almost like a way of proving that I have changed.
Yes.
I'm not that person who was mean
Yes.
or the bully, and
Yep.
I've moved on from that, and I prove it by the way I now act and behave,
Yes.
right?
And treat others.
And
That's
treat
right.
others, yeah.
That's right. Richard Evans, my co-author, excuse me, said to me, when I told him we were literally in final edits, ready to go to publishing, and I had this moment of, I said to him, I haven't been fully authentic about everything in the book. And he's like, what are you talking about? This is as transparent as you can get. And I said, I have to tell you about the bullying. So I hadn't written it yet. And I started telling him, and I'm crying. And I said, I just feel like if I'm putting something out there about myself, it has to be the most authentic version of myself, which means I can't just talk about the things that hurt me. I have to talk about what I have done to other people.
Yeah.
It makes me more believable. It makes me more relevant. It makes people maybe relate a little bit more, that, like the yin and yang diagram.
Yeah.
As light as I am, I have the little speck of dark. And as dark as I am, I have the little speck of light.
Yeah, I like that.
And if we're in both of those moments and we believe that that's possible, then I think it can help with the decisions that we make. I can be as light as possible. My frequency, as I call it, can be as high on one day as another. And I know there's a little dark in Celeste that can be triggered.
Yeah.
So how do I stay in the light? Equally, if I'm in a dark space and I know there's that little speck of light in there for me, I can obtain it. Like I can get to that little speck of light. So what do I need to get there? And so I was crying and I said to him, I don't know how to talk. I'm so ashamed. I don't know how to talk about being that girl. And he said, Celeste, you wouldn't even be friends with those other girls today.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wouldn't be.
Right.
I mean, I just felt like I felt like a child again talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I think when we have those triggers, we go back to that age we were.
Yeah.
And I felt like a 13-year-old girl telling him, I'm sorry now and I'm ashamed of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so his response was that
Yeah.
you wouldn't even have to spend time with people like that today.
Yeah.
It's not who you've become.
For sure.
It was a part of who you were. You have great remorse. You would beg for forgiveness if you saw her today, which I would.
You would.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Hands and knees.
Yep.
I'd beg for forgiveness more than anything I've ever asked for forgiveness for in my life. And hope that what can I do to help you be in a good place? And you didn't deserve 1 second of the trauma that was caused on you. And, I think that it's part of healing is, for me, when we talked about all those 6 months and those people I would meet, I've made a list of who those people are, and I'm trying really hard to find them in my life and thank them for the gift of grace that they gave me during that time, even if I didn't deserve it, even if I was acting out chaotically as a teenager and throwing something or saying something I shouldn't have said, and it was still given to me. Thanking people, which sounds hard when you're in trauma, you're like you're in that victim spot for that moment in time. It's really hard to think of, oh, you really want me to forgive them for all that they've done? You just you put yourself, understandably so, in this much higher spot. I think to be able to look into it a little bit, I think it's a process, but I do think if you can come to that place of again, learning to make that forgiveness cycle, your healing comes on the other side of that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's when the beauty just blows up, and you just have this miraculous moment of healing and hope.
Wow, I love that. Again, very well said. If you could go back to that little girl living out of a garbage bag today, what would you tell her?
Well, funny you should say that. This is a little bit of an exercise I go through. Have you ever heard of the healthy adult chair model?
Yeah.
I have a friend that was trained in that. And about 2 years ago, she took me through my first session. And the reason I love it is because of how quickly I can recall it.
Right.
I can be driving down the road and I'm like, whoo, I'm upset about something. And she has taught me by asking me when we go through this work, how old do you feel right now? Right. And if I'm sad and sorrowful, I'm usually 7 or younger.
Right.
I'm somewhere in there.
Yeah. Interesting.
If I'm upset,
Yeah.
almost like I'm throwing a temper tantrum, I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
And so in my healthy adult, in my ability to have that perspective, I will talk to them when I feel that way. When I'm feeling broken or sad about something, I'll think, okay, how old do you feel right now?
Yeah.
7. Okay. Celeste, what does healthy adult need to say to 7-year-old? Which is the exercise we've gone through, which is very emotional. It's an emotional experience
for sure.
to walk into the room and remember Celeste at 7 sitting on the floor, looking at toys she couldn't play with because she wanted her sister to have the opportunity, dinner she knew had to be made, the man that had just left the house, and all she wants to do is play. And now I say to her, and she's still feeling like there's something she's supposed to do. I say to her, wow, Celeste, you did a really good job, to my 7-year-old. And now you get to be done.
Yeah.
You're done doing that job.
Yeah.
And it frees her. She gets to get up and play.
Yeah.
And then it frees me because I'm like, ooh, that emotion's coming from that.
Sure.
That's where that's coming from. That's but it's a lot of work to get to these places.
Yeah.
And when I was talking earlier about you tend to quit a mile away from that goal.
Yeah.
Because it gets really hard right there.
Yep.
It gets really hard to have that conversation with that 7-year-old. It brings up a lot of stuff for me.
I can
and
imagine,
part of me thinks,
sure.
whew, it'll be easier just to not think about it right now.
Yeah.
Not really, because we don't want to be uncomfortable.
We don't want to be
like
uncomfortable.
you say, no one
Exactly.
wants that.
No, yeah.
And the moment I think that, I'm like, uncomfortable is where you're supposed to be because you know where you get on the other side.
Yeah.
You know where you get on the other side of that. So I just forgive her. I forgive her for anything she thinks she did wrong at that age especially. And I tell her she did a dang great job and she gets to be done with that job. People now that took care of younger siblings, even as adults, they really struggle with that idea that, God, if I just, my brother's an alcoholic. and I don't get to have a relationship with him. I choose not to have a relationship with him because it's hurtful for me.
Yeah.
And it just brings up too much stuff.
Sure.
And being able to sometimes think, oh, if I could have just done a little more for him. One, which isn't realistic. He was taken from me. But two, it wasn't my job anyway.
Exactly.
But to be able to say you did what you could at the time.
Yeah,
and you did a really good job.
With what you had.
Yeah. You did a really good job when he was 2 and you were 7, Celeste. You did the best you could.
Yeah, a 7-year-old taking care of a 2-year-old.
And now it's not your job anymore. Yeah, you have a 6-year-old grandson.
Yeah.
Let's play with him.
Yeah.
Let's go play tag because you didn't do that when you were little. You didn't play tag. Now you get to play tag. So, yeah, there's a lot wound up in all that. But, man, I think that self-forgiveness is so critical.
It's critical. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. You know, if there's someone that's tuning into this episode right now, listening to you, and they're listening to your story, obviously, and they're struggling, they're in a dark place, and they're not sure what to do, what would you tell that specific person in that place right now?
Well, my hunch would be, not 100%, but my hunch would be most of the time people I meet, at least, and even in my own world, when we're in a dark place, we're hurting or avoiding something or someone we've hurt.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that person, and I'm not proud of that when I use too much of maybe a substance and then I hurt that individual, and I'm really thinking about that, and that's still a pain point for me. I did that thing. It reminds me of, and it's relevant for anybody, but you mentioned that you have clients that have maybe been incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't expect from my book to happen was the men it would affect. Mm. So I have a really big passion for men in this respect, which is ironic because all my physical and sexual abuse came from men.
Yeah.
My emotional was mostly women, but physical and sexual was men. But I've had fathers write me, or when they come out of prison, ask to meet me. So I'll meet at like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And they will be hurting mostly with children. Okay. The children they lost.
Right.
And many times we've maybe had them at the Christmas box. And they're hurting because they're trying to make this new life for themselves. And of course the child might still be angry, understandably so, working through their own stuff. But really what they're not hearing is they're still loved.
Yeah.
And the moment I say to them, as a little girl whose father was in prison, who assumed I didn't love him anymore, I can promise you with everything in me, that's not the feeling they have.
Yeah.
The anger isn't I don't love you. The acting out or acting like I don't want anything to do with you isn't I don't love you. The love is there. The hurt is why the love is there. The love is why the hurt is there.
That's why it's there.
That's connected.
Yeah.
They don't know how to respond to you. They don't know how to trust you. They don't know how to relate to you. They don't know how to forgive you. All the other things, all the big list.
Yeah.
But they do love you. And every single time they believe that, kind of like you're saying up there, they believe they're worthy of love.
Yeah.
Which is anyone to me in a dark place. I think they really don't believe they're deserving of love. You are.
Yeah.
You still are. You're still so much worthy of the love you have to find in yourself, and the love that those children that you've lost for some reason are still giving you.
Yeah.
They may not, like when I ended my relationship with my biological mother, I still love her very much today. I respect the fact that she chose to have me. Yeah. She didn't have to do that.
Sure.
But I can't have a relationship with her because it's not healthy for me. But I love her.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's kind of the message for people, is that they matter. They still matter. You can make all the horrific decisions in the world, including on yourself, and you still matter. And it's never too late. It's never too late to turn your path around. Yeah. Ever. I don't believe it, no matter how old you are or what you've done.
Well, or even what you've been through. I mean, look what you've been through. Like, statistically, you shouldn't be sitting here right now.
I'm not in the one in foster care. They're called the 1%ers, and you're not supposed to be in the 1%ers.
Yeah.
But you can be.
You can, and you're proof of that.
You can still be a good parent. You can still be an executive director, be a dry clean worker. I don't really care what that looks like. Success belongs to you, but you can still be there.
Yeah.
And all the things that happen to us really just don't define who we are. And I think that's a struggle.
Yeah.
I think that definition that I'm nothing worth more than the stuff I throw in that garbage bag defines our identity. Just like what we do defines it doesn't define our identity. It's what we do.
Exactly.
And that's just a hard separation to sometimes work through.
Yeah.
Like, what would I do without this thing I do every day? You'd still be you, Todd.
Yeah.
You really would. But it gets so big and it ends up defining our whole existence.
Exactly.
And you're just worth all the love.
Yeah. Wow. So. Beautifully said. So many great nuggets. Oh my gosh, you are amazing.
Thank you.
I want everyone tuning in and the listeners to be able to learn more about you and the Christmas Box House and the International and maybe get a copy of your book and learn more about you and your story. What would be the best way for them to do that?
Books on Amazon. It's also on Audible, which means you hear me read it. That was a whole other process.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, we get to have an Audible? And Richard Evans says, no, you get to record the Audible.
You're like, really?
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
So it is on Audible if you prefer that. But
I love it.
But my website, celesteedmunds.com. I also, thechristmasbox.org.
Yeah.
Google me.
Yep.
You can't even get away from that.
Right.
As you know.
Exactly. Google her and you'll have all kinds.
You'll have all the information you want. But
info.
we have great holiday programs. If somebody's just interested in even volunteering with us.
Okay.
Right now we've launched Project Elf. That's where we give Christmas to 3,000 children. And whether you want to donate monetarily, or you want to shop on Amazon, or you just want to come volunteer and help us sort donations, there's really something for everyone.
Nice.
We'd love to have you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Celeste. You're
Thanks
amazing.
for having me. We finally got to meet.
We've been trying to do this for a long time, but here we are. And the good thing is I have a much bigger following now, so that's even better. So, well,
now
I love
all
that.
of you can come help Christmas.
Well,
Box.
yeah, and I just think, man, I love that what you're doing, and I'd love to obviously share and get your message out and get a copy of her book. It's again The Garbage Bag Girl. Again, go check out her website, tune in, and listen to the things that she does. I do admire you. I know what I also love about you is your vulnerability and you even saying, I'm still working through some things.
Yeah.
I love that. That's just you being real.
Yeah.
So, man, this was just such a fun conversation. When I feel like we've only talked for 5 minutes, I know that this was a good conversation. I mean, I look over there, it's almost been an hour.
I know. I'm like, I have so many questions for him.
I know. And there's so much more here, but we'll leave people wanting some more, and maybe we'll have you back, and I would love to do that. So thank you for all the good you do, being a voice for the voiceless. That's
you too.
Yeah, thank you.
It's important.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. Celeste Edmunds, please check out everything she's doing. If you have a loved one who's struggling, share them a link to this episode and let them listen to her powerful words and her story. It'll really inspire them to maybe for the first time want to make a change in their own life. So love you guys. Thanks to my sponsors. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. And thanks for tuning in week after week. Love you guys. Till next time.